Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be critiquing Joe Rogan's striking skills. I've taken an assortment of clips, I've looked at them, I've made my conclusion on whether they're good, they're bad, what can be worked on, and the purpose of this episode is not to find somebody and go wrong, 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 and to make them feel bad, although Joe Rogan might never even see this, but that's not the purpose. What we're trying to do is allow you guys to see somebody who is very acclaimed in the martial arts world and go, what are they good at? What are they bad at? And when we can recognize things like that, we can make corrections in our own work and make sure we're not making these same mistakes that other people are making. So let's roll the intro and let's jump in to Joe Rogan hitting pads and the bag. First thing I want to say is I do recognize that Joe Rogan is not a striking expert. I've heard from many people he's actually very proficient on the ground. His jiu-jitsu game is far superior to his stand-up, but still when I watch him, I go, whoa, this guy has a whole lot of very good things going for him in the striking world, but there are some corrections that need to be made to take that striking level to a very, very top. The first clip we're looking at is Joe Rogan actually hitting pads with Liam Harrison, who is one of the world's most accomplished Muay Thai strikers. Very cool to see him holding for Joe Rogan. The combo they're working on is a rising lead elbow and then hooking the inside leg to off balance your opponent, and then as they reset their weight, you come with a slashing elbow across the back. Joe Rogan, as far as I can tell, with his rising elbow and his crossing elbow, they're all looking pretty good. But what I do want to point out, if you didn't already notice from watching the clip, is when he goes to sweep the leg out, which is a fantastic technique to utilize, his hand drops. And you have to remember, on different techniques, there are different distances. On long range techniques, maybe even something like a low kick, I can sometimes get away with sloppy hands. When I'm going lower, the lower I go, the closer I need to get. So that will put me within punch range, trying to go down here as opposed to back here, or even closer into punch range. What we should see Joe Rogan doing here is the rising elbow right into the hook, hand high, and then slashing across, as opposed to rise, hands down, and then to the elbow. Small little detail there, but I'm a big fan of this motion, this little pulling motion, getting people to go off balance, but you just have to do it very safely. Next up, we're looking at Joe Rogan's low kick. He throws it once and then he comes off the jab cross hook and throws it again. The thing that I don't like when he throws it, like great body rotation, super powerful man. When he throws, it looks like, oh, it would really hurt to get kicked by him. But the non-swinging arm, what is that doing? That for him is coming across. And a lot of people come across because they go, okay, I'm worried about punches, but his is even low enough that it's not gonna block any punches. So he doesn't have the safety there from the punches, and he doesn't have the safety from the side for the high kick. And that to me is much more important. I can throw my low kick like this and feel very safe because I feel like generally I'm out of punch range, especially if I get my head off that center line. Joe Rogan's not doing that quite as much, but the hand swinging down here to me serves very little purpose, and I would like to see that adjusted from here to up here, just so if that high round kick comes, you are absolutely safe. Next off, we see Joe Rogan slamming in a big body round kick. You can tell Liam Harrison is impressed by the power. It looks like he does a really nice job not landing with his foot, but landing with the shin and really slamming in a whole lot of weight and power there. Overall, I like much of what he does. He remembers to pivot, so he rotates through the standing leg, he turns his hips, he turns his shoulders. What do I not like? The non-swinging arm. So the arm that is here, it is now doing what we want. It is finishing at head level. He was not doing that for the low kick, he's doing it now. But this hand is coming down and up. It's doing like almost this big windmill to get back to where it started. And again, what is the purpose of that? I'm not 100% sure. I even catch myself doing this sometimes. You know, I'm here and I'm kind of like whoosh, and this arm swings down. I go, why did I do that? How much more power can I possibly get from this than just keeping that there the whole time? Same thing on this one. I throw in this hand, if it's already there, why not just leave it there? It's going to serve better protection because as it drops, there's that little opening there. So that is a small critique on Joe Rogan's body round kick, which I would like to see corrected. Now, Joe Rogan has some strong looking punches. I like his jab. He fires it out, he pulls it back, he gets good body rotation. When he throws his cross, he gets good rotation through here, but his lead hip, or sorry, his back hip does not take the lead. So if I was standing this way, and you can see my left hip is in front, because my left hand is my jab, I want to rotate and get this one all the way in front. If I don't, if it's just shoulders, you're gonna feel more of a pull through your body. You're gonna rotate through the spine a little far. It's gonna feel a little bit uncomfortable, and you're not gonna maximize the distance and the power that you'll get if you really increase that rotation to get the right hip, which was in the back, all the way to the front. That right there is going to help you increase that power. Again, small point. Overall, I really like what I'm seeing from Joe Rogan in terms of striking. If he made these little tweaks, it would just pop his skill level dramatically. Now, something that really does impress me, which I don't really have any critiques on, is Joe Rogan's spinning kicks. They are sharp, they look super dangerous, and I like how he really thrusts through on his kicks. I'm actually going to break down for you the way he explains how he throws it. So a lot of people, when they throw a spinning side kick, let's say I'm going this direction, they come here and they get their knee below their foot and they fire out. Kind of sort of more of a back kick almost. It's more like this, but Joe Rogan sort of teaches it Taekwondo style, where he wants to get his knee up above the foot. To do that, he starts off and he says, take this lead foot. He actually starts sort of more in this stance, so it's easier, a little bit more narrow. It's a little harder from here, but he says pivot. Then he says take the back leg, which is your kicking leg, and from there what you want to do is you want to bring the knee up really high, and then it's just thrust, and the push through that he gets is very dramatic. He teaches it almost like the side kick or the spinning side kick should be pretty much the same as the lead leg side kick. So I have my right foot in front and I lift and I push through. He says we're essentially doing that same thing. We rotate, we get to here. Obviously not by letting my foot touch. I would just lift it up at this point, and then the push. And he always gets a little stall out at the end of his kick when he hits the bag or anything. He really flexes it out all the way and just pauses for a split second. Interesting way to do it. But overall, with the power that he has in this kick, we can't really argue with anything. Again, fighting stance, a little turn, lift knee high, and then thrust right through. Very, very nice use of one of the kicks that is, in my opinion, the absolute most powerful one that you can throw. Overall, how would I rate Joe Rogan's striking? Let's say scale from 1 to 10, professional fighters being up at 10, the really, really good ones, sort of okay ones being at a 9. I would say Joe Rogan's around a 6 or a 7. Something like his spinning side kick looks right up there with the best of them. But then there's a few little errors here and there. I've also seen some clips where he looks much better than he does in these little segments, which I showed you today. I looked for a couple spots where there was stuff to critique. So yeah, overall, probably a 7 for Joe Rogan in terms of the striking, which I think is fantastic for somebody who apparently has a great ground game. And let's face it, who's not a professional fighter, he commentates fights, but he can actually do things very well. So a little round of applause for Joe Rogan, looking very sharp, much better than some of these celebrities who I covered in the past who are hitting pads where I went, ugh. In fact, I think the only person in that episode where I went, this guy looks pretty good, was Tom Hardy. But you can check that out and just have some fun watching celebrities hit pads. Anyway, guys, that's all for me today. My little critique of Joe Rogan's striking skills. If you enjoyed the episode, please give it a like. If you haven't already, join the channel, get subscribed. As always, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another video.